So former President Donald Trump came up during our exclusive interview with Attorney General Letitia James yesterday, and we wanted to share that with you tonight. We ran out of time yesterday. There was a lot to discuss. There is certainly no love lost between these two politicians. James recently sued Mr. Trump, his companies, and his adult children in a $250 million lawsuit with fraud accusations dating back many years. In the 220-page civil lawsuit, the AG said that the Trump organization lied to banks and insurance companies about how much properties were worth. They would inflate the value to get better terms for a loan, but then say they were worth a lot less than that in tax documents. The former president has called all of this a witch hunt.
Well, she campaigned on it 4 years ago. It was a vicious campaign, and she just talked about Trump, and we're going to indict him, we're going to get him. She knew nothing about me. I never heard of her. She said, we're going to get him. Her whole campaign was based on that.
The Wall Street Journal editorial board criticized the Attorney General, saying, quote, Ms. James ran for office promising to indict Mr. Trump, which is the opposite of the way justice should be done. You're supposed to find a crime and then identify the perpetrator. We asked the AG about that during our exclusive interview. You have an active lawsuit against the Trump organization right now, accusing it of fraud. Mr. Trump has said your lawsuit is a witch hunt. I know you've responded to that in the press. He's called you a racist.
Really?
He complains that during your last campaign, you said, if you elect me, I will go after Donald Trump. Was it a mistake to do that before you started the investigation?
So let me just say that at the deposition of Mr. Trump, who over 440 times said, I take the fifth, and who indicated to me that I was a racist. And I wonder why he said that. The reality is that based upon our 3-year investigation, covering a period of 2010 to 2021, Mr. Trump, the Trump organization, members of his company, as well as his family members, basically deceived the general public and deceived banks and deceived insurance companies for beneficial terms. And if you or I, we walked into a bank today with statements of financial condition that were objectively false and secured a loan for a lower interest rate, you and I would be locked up in a minute's time. Why should that not apply to Mr. Trump, the Trump organization, and or his family members? There's only one system of justice, and it should apply to all of us. And lastly, let me just say, his accusation that this is a political witch hunt were dismissed by 2 separate and independent judges. No one is above the law, and the facts speak for themselves.
But although the lawsuit was filed almost a month ago, it wasn't until a few days ago that Mr. Trump was officially served with the court documents. The Attorney General asked a judge for a court order so they could basically force the Trump side to accept service of the lawsuit, and the judge agreed. The Attorney General called that gamesmanship. Both sides are due back in court on October 31st as this case will continue.